I know that term from the rap world, like based, but I didn't know what based means, but I've heard it used a bunch of times, and it's always a positive. Based is all about being yourself and not caring about what anybody else thinks. I don't care, I'm based.
Petty for president, racing and leveraging, facing competitors. I'm not the regular. Petty for president, you are not ready yet. Serve and I represent, trust me with all respect. Petty for president, move unprotected, yes, no losing delegates. Seats in my home expense. Petty for president, black me my leather, yes, no speech impediment. TV like Letterman, petty on podium, powerful president.
All right, dude, well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I've been vigorously trying to track you down because you're hands down my favorite shit poster in the world.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So anybody tuning in, we're talking to Mr. Chris Clark, shit poster extraordinaire, co-host of the Here's Your Apology podcast, and just overall fucking hilarious guy. I feel like we're kind of connected because of our Northwest heritage. And so whenever I see all your Portland posts and stuff like that, I just feel like, yeah, we have a deep bond with the fuckery we've seen.
Oh, yeah. So where are you from exactly?
I'm from Seattle.
Okay.
So I grew up in Everett, which is kind of like it used to be like the ghetto version of Seattle, about 20 minutes north. But then as I got older, I moved into the city and I never saw myself leaving, but it basically turned into Portland. And then now I think they've both just kind of risen to a status of just ratchetness.
Chaos and just trash.
Yeah.
At all time.
Yeah, man. So what's kind of I like to ask people their villain origin story. I almost said orgy story. I mean, if you got one of those, I'll listen to it as well. But
shit, probably doing comedy in Portland.
So you're a stand-up comedian as well?
I was. I mean, I haven't done it since COVID. My home club went out of business during COVID. So like my home base that I was doing sets at every week doesn't exist anymore. It's actually, if you know Portland, it's called Old Town Chinatown, and it's basically Portland Skid Row.
Is that like where all the strip clubs are at, where they serve good steaks and shit?
No, I mean there's a bunch of those. Yeah, no, it's just chaos. It's by the Greyhound bus station. But anyways, yeah. So all that is chaos. It's a third world country. It looks like a favela. It's just thousands of homeless people running this whole downtown of the city. But so, yeah, basically working there every day, dealing with homeless people, and then doing the comedy scene in Portland for 7 years. It'll make you pretty fucking jaded and fed up with like the whole left wing horse shit.
So were you necessarily, because I still wouldn't even really call you political. You're more of like a society. I mean, you're just a typical comedian. You're observing what you see and then just flipping out the funniness of it. And that's a lot with your online presence and stuff too. But I mean, you could categorize what you're doing as political. I just call it based at this point. Like I'm trying to like that word to me just means everybody that's doing what we're doing. Like we're not these like crazy political people. We're just talking about the truth. Like we're not running away from it. And so were you at all paying attention to politics, like local or even at a federal level before kind of the world started to make this turn in like 2019, 20, or you just kind of a product of your environment?
Yeah, no, I always was pretty political. I'd consider myself much more of a left-wing guy. Like growing up, I had family that were like in unions and stuff. So they were very like Democrat. Yeah. So like I voted for Obama twice like an idiot. I like went into these different things and like was politically active to an extent. But like here, the hardcore anti-Trump, anti-anything that isn't as far left as possible was like probably like 2015, 2014. It started getting fucking nuts here where they're pushing the drag queen stuff. Like 2014, that was like a thing at the comedy clubs. They'd have kids in drag shows like at the clubs in 2014. So like that was when I kind of was like, whoa, fuck, I'm not into this shit. Like this is insane. You're all mentally ill pedophiles. You fucking doing this shit and like selling tickets for it. Yeah, so I've always been into that. Like I've always been really into it.
So without diving down the political rabbit hole too much, because I more want to get to know you. But you know, you said like stupid. I can't remember the word you used, but like regrettably, you voted for Obama twice. Mm-hmm. So you weren't a fan of Obama at all? I
wasn't first, but I was also in college when that whole like hope and change shit was going on.
Yeah.
So they were just shoving it down your throat. Like, don't be a racist white guy. Vote for Obama. He's articulate. He's handsome.
Yeah.
He's the anti-George Bush. You know, growing up here in Portland, George Bush was the enemy. So
you must be my like early 30s as well then.
34. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm 32. And so I remember because Obama was the first election that I voted. And I think because I kind of it's everybody I've talked to, besides a couple guys where they grew up, in the South, and that's not saying anything weird about anybody. Everybody's kind of had a similar story where we kind of started off being on the left and then throughout the last couple of years. So do you feel like you've changed at all? Do you think the world's just gone crazy?
The world's absolutely crazy now. Like, it's just a different, like, I feel like I'm normal, reasonable. Like, I'm not down with like pedophilia. I'm not down with taking away freedom of speech. Like, just basic, I don't know, normal things. Like, I don't know how it's gotten so out of hand so quickly, but like where they are anti everything, traditional, normal, sane, like that drives me fucking insane. That the push to keep further and further and further. So I'm just done with it.
Yeah, that's. So, I mean, growing up, I was always kind of a rebellious kid, just by nature. And as I got older, I realized the only way to rebel is by not being a fucking weirdo, is to like just be.
Dude, yeah, that's the thing is like being a comedian, like you want to be anti-establishment and anti-authority, and like for some reason now that makes you a conservative, which is fucking insane.
Yeah, I hate the word
conservative.
Yeah, I hate the word. I absolutely hate it because I'm not like a conservative guy by any means. Like I smoke weed, I fuck chicks in the butt, I have fun, I have a foul mouth. But it's because I don't go to drag shows. All of a sudden now I'm a crazy right winger. You know what I mean?
100%. Same thing. Yeah. I'm all on board with what you just said that you like to participate in as well. So
you like to fuck chicks in the butt?
Sure. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, That's why it's weird to be called conservative. I'm really not.
Yeah. Like I said, I really don't like the title. That's why I'm just pushing the based word. So someone's like, what's your political alignment? Like, dude, I'm based, I think, for myself. Just trying to
me a little cringe though as a comic because to me it's just like a right wing woke. Like I picture Charlie Kirk saying it for some reason. That just drives me nuts.
I can see what you're saying, but that's where I'm not going. Because I love that. I love the word. I've been using it since 2010 before it became political. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm trying to push it hard to where it stays as like more of a pop culture word versus a political word. But even though it is like a political identifier, but yeah, as soon as I start seeing, because of the right, they are kind of trying to hijack it. They're trying to like a Charlie Kirk for sure, because that dude, respect to him, but it's a little much. Like, I don't agree with all that like super far right wing shit. Like be a human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm still a Portlander, like at heart. So I still like am open to a majority of like a liberal thing. I'm not like, it's again, what's pushing on the kids. That's where I have no tolerance for that shit at all.
Do you remember a specific moment? I mean, was it kind of the drag shows at the comedy clubs? And was it just kind of a slow accumulation, or was there a definite moment where you said, okay, this is fucked up?
It's partially definitely the kids in the comedy shows. Like, I mean, it's a nightclub, so it'd be like at 11 o'clock on a Thursday night, and these parents would be bringing their kids in here that are like 5 years old to watch burlesque / drag shows. Like, that to me is someone that's like, we're in like Skid Row of Portland, everyone's hammered, there's crazy violence just outside the club. Like there's a reason, I don't know why, that you're bringing this kid to this nightclub, but I oppose that. So that kind of just woke me up to being like, what other things are they doing in their lives and culturally that we're pushing that's like an insane thing to be doing? I don't know.
So are you interested in doing stand-up anymore? Or are you kind of...
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. So I saw that you were doing, was it Kill Tony once?
Yeah, I did Kill Tony. That was an experience. But to be honest, man, so I've been doing just kind of the circuits here in Austin, but I enjoy it, but I enjoy creating content, and cause sometimes I kind of feel like a dancing monkey. You know what I mean?
Doing stand-up or just creating content?
No, stand-up. Sometimes I just like, I get him. It's like, dude, I don't give a fuck if these people like me. I don't want to make these people laugh.
That's where I got to that point too, where I was like, it's more fun to piss people off.
Yeah.
There's at least a visceral reaction, which is like, I guess shitposting kind of is the same thing.
Yeah. And I just feel like, most comedians that I find, I know a lot of great comedians down here, but they haven't really tapped into they're such comedy purists where they refuse to create content and really lean into the internet. Like most comedians that I know, like, like the Trevor Wallaces and like the Ryan Longs and stuff like that. I mean, I found them on the internet. I'd go see them live because I've seen their content, And so sure. I think a lot of stand-up comedians, because I don't even really sit there. That's how I realized I'm a hack, is I don't really sit there and watch an hour-long special. Like I don't have the attention span. So I like content and stuff like that. But the average person doesn't understand, and I don't put myself in this box. I mean, I have so much admiration for seasoned comedians. I've just been eating shit for 10 years and I don't have it in. How long were you doing stand-up for?
I did it for about 7 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So you respected.
And picture here, you've seen how I post and how I think and talk, like coming through the Portland comedy scene as woke was like blowing up is like basically just getting curb stomped every night on stage, just eating shit. No one really fucked with you. I had to create my own rooms and create my own opportunities by booking people. Like I booked Legion of Skank guys in Portland, and I booked people to like go to get crowds and be interested in my type of comedy. Like, yeah. So after like 7 years, I'm burnt out on that fucking shit. So that's why I started podcasting and kind of do some other stuff.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how'd the podcast come about? Like what's your co-host, Nate? I don't want to butcher his last name. What's his last name?
Nate
Wazinski. Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. What's your guys' relationship like, and how'd all that come about, and who does what? And
so Nate is a giant comedy nerd. He moved here from Yakima for work or something. So he's a Northwest guy. He saw me open for Josh Potter. I don't know if you know who Josh Potter is.
I can't think of the face, but I definitely know the name.
Yeah, he's a very he's a character. He's a hilarious dude, good dude. Worked on Your Mom's House for a long time. Now he's kind of branched off. Got opened for him at this rock club in Portland. He saw me. He had a podcast at the time. I did his podcast a few times. His buddy Levi moved up here during COVID to like get away from Hollywood. He'd worked in reality TV shows and like as a movie producer and stuff, and just wanted something fresh. They all wanted to do a project, and then they were like, "Hey, let's get this guy. He's been doing comedy and he's a psycho. He'll say some weird shit." And like, that's kind of what it is. And we've been doing that for 9 months now.
So that was almost kind of a COVID creation then, wasn't it?
100%. Yeah. 100%. I hadn't done comedy in a long time. And I was just burnt out on comedy in general. And I, like you said, like you need to create content. And I was always like, that takes effort, time, energy. If I just want to write a joke and go to like the open mic and bomb or have a decent set, like that's an instant gratification thing. Where like creating content's kind of hard work. Like,
yeah, I feel like it's the opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, if I think, okay, am I really gonna go spend 2 hours hanging out at this shit mic and then bomb like in front of a dead crowd after some like apps person that just should not be there? Especially Austin. Austin's got a lot of people coming down here, here's the great irony, because you're the first comic I've had on here, so you'll like this, but a lot of these woke comics are moving to Austin to get on Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe's radar. And so it's like, exactly. So like I'll get on stage and I can just feel the coldness in the room based on the shit that I'm talking about, like making fun of trans people and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, we're all trying to get on the fucking base god himself's fucking radar, Joe Rogan, the guy that you're all trying to cancel. And so it's just a big thing of hypocrisy. But back to the point. Yeah, I find creating content is just so easy and so instantly, and it's just like turn and burn. Where doing stand-ups, you have to remember the shit. You have to go wait to get on stage, or I feel like it's a lot more work, and maybe it's with you being seasoned and having those reps in that it is just easier for you. But it's definitely not the average person can do what you're doing with that.
No, I mean, the amount of times I've just like, I feel like I wasted half of a decade, like hanging out at shitty bars for just like you were talking about. I don't know what Austin's like. I am kind of curious. I kind of would like to go there and just fuck around and do open mics, but like just dozens of mentally ill, the most unfunny person you've ever met in your life. And there would just be these mentally ill people, like hundreds of them, that would trickle in and out of the comedy scene every couple of years. Yeah. And you would just have to sit there for 2 hours watching them just bomb every fucking night, or pander and still bomb every fucking night. And you're just like, I need to like go outside and like smoke a cigarette or like do something to not have this fucking crazy lunatic in my head. Like, I don't know. Austin would be interesting though. I don't know.
It's like, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing because I would go before I ever had the balls to get on. I would go to a lot of open mics in Seattle. Like if my girl and I were fighting, I would just like go to a comedy because there were a couple comedy clubs near where we lived. And I was just going
out of business now though. I feel like.
I think so. You know, I think there was like sexual misconduct allegations at Laughs on Roosevelt, which was kind of a big one. And then I think there was another one called The Parlor in Bellevue, and that one got shot up. And so they closed down. And then there's one called the Comedy Underground, which I think is still ticking. I think they survived COVID, if I'm not mistaken, but it was flourishing, man.
I mean, I went up there and did some shows like over the years. It was kind of like Portland light because it didn't feel like because like Portland had much more of a dense downtown.
Yeah,
with comedy, so you just could pop around and do a billion open mics. Where there you'd have to like drive 55 minutes to go from Kirkland to Bellevue or whatever. Like
yeah, and it's so yeah, that's fun. Yeah, you know your way around. That's funny, man.
Mm-hmm. Back to the woke thing, like. Those comics, it blows my mind. I see those people and I hear people I know that are fucking awful that are moving to Austin to get on that radar. And it makes no sense because I'm like, you're the antithesis of what these people are, like a Tony Hinchcliffe type of comedian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's odd.
It really is. When I first moved down here, because back in Seattle, people were just kind of nice. And it was kind of like this inclusive, supportive comedy scene.
Really?
And then when
I got vibe,
I mean, maybe it's because I wasn't actually performing, so I wasn't taking up stage time. But so everybody was just always nice to me in the comedy clubs and everything. But then so when I got down here, I kind of noticed everybody was kind of cold, you know, and but then after I've been here for a while, and then when I see all the new faces come in, I'm just like, oh, you know, it's kind of like when you have a job, you kind of wait. When you're new, you're nice to everybody. Then after a while, it's like, all right, I'm not going to give a fuck about this person until they last here 3 months at least, you know?
Yes, 100%.
And so I'm kind of seeing like, you know, I see the jaded comics doing the circuits here, and I realize like, okay, this is why they treated me the way they did, because it's annoying seeing all these talentless people coming out here and just taking up. I mean, you go to open mic, it's like a 4-hour long thing, and it's like, who wants to watch that?
And if you do that for enough years and you see these same people taking up space and maybe getting onto a showcase that they don't deserve to be on, and that gives them that little bit of hope to hang on for another 6 months and then another 6 months. And again, it's just, there's the amount of people that do comedy that are actually funny or have a sense of humor. It's minuscule. It's like 1% of the people that are doing open mics and stuff. Like the most unfunny, brain dead morons you've ever met in your life are doing comedy every single night.
Yeah, it's really not. It's probably the purest form of anything you can do. It's kind of like I think of it the opposite of a DJ. Like a DJ, you have to have no talent unless I'm not talking about like a Diplo. I'm just talking about just like a guy with some turntables playing at a party, right? Yeah. You're literally just taking somebody else's music and you're like anything you can do, clapping your hands while the thing's happening that you're supposed to be doing. You're not actually doing anything. You know what I mean? Like anybody can bullshit their way through a DJ set. Stand-up comedy, you can't bullshit it. It's like bodybuilding. You're either buff or you're not, you know, like stand-up comedy is, and I'm realistic enough to, yeah, like I'm not super funny. I'm not a Hans Kim or something like that, but I have enough sense to not, some of these people, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, dude, get the fuck off the stage. It just doesn't make sense to me. Especially the woke people, dude.
The woke is the wildest thing. Cause I mean, I don't know. In Portland, like I would bomb so hard with jokes, and then people before me or after me would fucking get clapter applause breaks. Do you know what clapter is?
Yeah, like when it's just yeah.
And you're just like, all you're doing is going up here preaching. You're not even trying to be funny. You're not trying to be like even try to tell a joke. And that's what that's infuriating to me about the woke culture, I guess.
Do you ever worry about, you know, just based off the content you're putting out online and, you know, kind of the stuff like on a recent podcast episode, you guys were like making fun of Ramadan and stuff like that?
That's a tough one because I know that they're a little volatile, but Yeah, and it's tough, especially, like I live in Portland, I work in Portland. So I've had coworkers find my content over the years and they aren't a fan, dating's hard here.
How does, so how does that work? I'm kind of curious because I'm always a little, not hesitant because I stand behind everything I say, but I'd rather leave my social media out of the conversation in real life. And I would almost say you're a little bit even more. You're one of the few people that's more abrasive than I am. So.
That's good because yours is pretty fucking wild too. So, don't you have like episodes called "I'm a Racist" or something like that?
Yeah, but that's yeah, but so that's okay. Here's my mindset on that. I want it to be so ridiculous to where it takes the power out of the word because it means nothing.
Sure, that's how I 100%.
If somebody would have called me that back in 2016 or something, I would have been like, dude, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Now if somebody says it like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm hella racist. It's just a big joke. Nothing. It means literally nothing. But
same with homophobic during Pride Month. Like they've gone so far over the top with the Pride Month shit this year where I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm homophobic. Okay, fine. Transphobic.
Yeah, it means nothing. And then it's so funny because I've never been called a terrible word by the person that's actually part of the affected group. No. Like, like black dudes love me. I love black dudes, like in a non-weird way. I have had my buddy Evan on here. He's a gay Republican. He came on the other day and he was, just talking about his experience, about how it was way harder coming out as a Republican as it ever was like coming out as gay. And it's just really interesting because I feel like it's just mostly these sheltered white people calling people terrible names,
That's all it is. That's all it is.
And my hatred for him is it's brewing. But yeah, do you ever get any sort of like death threats or anything like that? Or people just like, oh, kill yourself?
Twitter gets pretty fucking wild sometimes.
Do you engage with it?
I used to when I had like a little bit less follower. I don't have very many followers, a couple thousands. I'm an idiot, but yeah, sometimes, but then you've seen it, like the same people, they have a furry avatar.
Yeah.
And have all the flags in their bio. It's never like a real person. If it's a real person, like, then okay, maybe I'll engage or even like acknowledge in my mentions is a thing. But yeah, I get a lot of death threats on Twitter, but they're not real people. So it's not really a thing. And also like, I'm not really making opinions that aren't pretty common. Like, I'm not saying too crazy shit. I don't think, at least. I don't know.
Dude, your Twitter feed is literally, it is, and I'm not kissing your ass because you're on my podcast, right? It's literally like the first place I go on Twitter. It's so hard not to like if you didn't follow me on Instagram, I would take almost everything you post and make memes out of it. But I don't, just because I'm like embarrassed because I know you, because I know you're going to reckon, oh, he's just getting all this shit off my feed. Because
people have done that for years. I've had a lot of comedians steal my shit and then they unfollow me or something, and then they just do it from like a burner account all the time. But thank you.
Where do you, without giving away your secrets, man, I guess not so much where, but how do you find all this fucked up footage?
Dude, I just curated great following, I guess. I don't know. I was arguing with a friend today. He goes, Twitter is the biggest waste of time in the world. It's a piece of shit. Like, I don't know why you waste your time doing it. But I enjoy it because I've curated who I follow to just be wild ass videos or politics that I want to hear about. It's basically, you just follow all of Black Twitter. That's a good default.
Yeah, Black Twitter is the shit.
Black Twitter is wild. They are anti-woke as it gets. So like that's where I find a lot of the wildest shit is Black Twitter. just find all the big curators of Black Twitter.
Yeah, you got to send me some more peeps to dive deeper in there because that's so funny because Black dudes are the opposite of woke, and then the woke people are like trying to shelter Black people from guys like you and me that are just trying to crack up at some dumb shit.
Well, dude, I played football in college, and if you want to hear the most politically incorrect shit you've ever heard in your life, you go into a locker room. And even during like a BLM thing, like when that was blowing up, I guarantee in the locker room they were saying the wildest shit, the most offensive shit. It's like, that's what's funny to me. That's why you see those baseball players that got shit for not wearing the pride flags.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous.
if you know anything about like machismo Latin culture at all, first of all, they're Catholic or whatever, and they don't put up with that shit. They'll just be honest about it. And so for me, I don't know. Yeah, black Twitter is awesome. I don't know. I've just been fortunate to find the wildest shit. Plus, I enjoy it. So.
And I've noticed too that there's been a shift in, the way, I mean, I can't speak for black people, but it's just like the black people that I've spoken to about like BLM, for instance. It's kind of like this joke within like the whole culture at this point about like, where did the money go?
To their houses. Like, the good thing is though, I feel like it's waking a lot of them up from the constant propaganda horse shit. Like, the fact that they see that all that money is like blatantly not going back into whatever black college funds or fixing the community or whatever other thing they pretended that they were going to do. That's been fun to me to see, like, very vocal black people being like, what the fuck is this shit? All these white liberals took all our money.
Yeah, 100%. And I really do think it's woken a lot of people up, because once you, and that's where I always say the most genius skit ever is that SNL skit where Tom Hanks is playing like the racist Republican with the MAGA hat, and he's on Black Jeopardy. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think I have. I haven't watched. I can't. I blow my brains out if I tried to watch SNL.
Oh, same. I mean, I think it was probably done in like 2016, but basically the concept is like, like I said, you got this old redneck white guy with the Trump hat, and he's on Black Jeopardy. And they're asking him questions about like trust in the government, like fixing your car. Like, no, I got a cousin that'll fix it. And I've always felt like this, because like the neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid was very, very diverse, very multicultural. I was maybe one of like 3 or 4 white kids on the block. Like out of the group of like us 12 to 16 kids, like I said, I was one of 3 white kids. And so then when I moved to the States, I moved to like this real country area, to a real country school. I was like, all right, these country people are just like how we were back in like the ghetto of Germany. And so I've always drawn that comparison where I felt like these white uppity yuppie liberals, they're kind of like out on their own island. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
I saw you post something about that the other day, and I was laughing out loud. Like, you in one of your posts where you had like a comparison breakdown of the two.
It's
I can't remember what it was. Like, it was a perfect analogy.
Yeah, and I kind of, it's a thought that I've always had, but then, I kind of bit it from that SNL skit because it was, as funny as SNL can possibly be. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a black person wear a BLM shirt in like 2 years now, because they've woken up to this, like, all right, we got played by, not everything has a racial narrative or a racial motive.
Yeah, I mean, the only people that are still playing that game hard are just like the grifters making money off of it from like a secondary market of it, like a Joy Reid or something. You know what I mean? Like those people.
Yeah. Were you the one that posted the video of that like old white guy in the BLM shirt getting knocked out?
Probably. I don't remember, but sounds like somebody posted.
Before you came on, it's funny. I was like going through my phone. I was on Twitter, and I saw that video of the dude getting hit by the truck.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, dude, I was fucking dying.
Yeah, Twitter's weird. Like, so my Instagram, in terms of like, I tried to grow my Instagram really aggressively for like 2 years, 3 years, like right before COVID.
What does that entail?
Posting a lot on my wall.
Okay.
I was putting some stand-up clips on there for a while, and like actively trying to like grow it somehow. I don't really know. I'm not like that tech savvy of like how to grow it, but I was like posting more shit. So my Instagram went from like a few hundred followers to like 4,000 pretty quickly. Probably because I post wild shit, and people like you were like sending it to their friends and like, hey, this guy posts wild shit.
Yeah.
And then boom, once COVID hit, my Instagram has not grown like at all in 2 years now. Yeah. But Twitter, the floodgates have opened in the last 6 months, which is wild. So that's kind of why I've focused on that more, is I can say more shit. I can post. I mean, there's snuff films on Twitter. So if I post some guy getting hit by a car, I'm not going to get my account suspended. Where Instagram, I don't know about you, they make me delete stories that are months old. Do you have that ever?
No, I haven't gotten that, but I do worry about, my Instagram getting nuked again, because it's just kind of the lifeline of, or the kind of like the nucleus of everything I'm doing. Cause I put so much time into Instagram. And so it's because they nuked it once. I had 15,000 followers and they nuked it. And then so it's been exactly like a year. I remember because I was at Seattle Pride Fest, just walking around with my ex-girlfriend. All of a sudden, I tried to open up Instagram, take a video of a fucking human on a leash. And all of a sudden, I realized my Instagram got nuked, and I was just instantly like my stomach dropped through my ass. But
because you put so much effort into like it's your space to create and reach everyone. Like that's what's infuriating. Like if I was posting hateful things and like actually doing like, if you were doing really fucked up things, like, okay, that's fine. But like, you're just being funny and posting your opinion on things. Like that's frustrating. But that's why you're smart to create other outlets of content, like with podcasts and other stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to do the whole like wheel and spoke thing, man. I've realized like there's so many, it's dawned on me. Like that's my goal for this podcast is that, other creators that might not know each other, just kind of create this like crossbreed of people that are all kind of on the same mission. You know what I mean? Some people, I've had conversations with, relationships prior. Other people just kind of cold reached out like, hey, I like what you're doing. You want to come on this podcast? Like there's a lot of like-minded people. And I feel like there's been, I just kind of want to like build that community of people that are, good people that aren't these like hateful, weird right-wingers, but that are also kind of.
No, I totally agree. That's actually really brilliant move is to like get everyone in like interweb, like connect everybody.
Yeah.
Like the intermediary person to connect them. That's pretty cool. And then we could all cross platform. I mean, that's how a guy like Rogan got so big. Like I was working the door at Helium in 2013. When I started doing comedy, I worked the door at the comedy club for 2+ years. And so I got to see Rogan launch everyone else. So like there was like the Seguras and Bert Kreischers and stuff. And they were doing their own things on their own and they were having, success. But then they had that person in the middle that brought everyone to like show them to everyone else. Like, oh, fuck, I like this guy. I love this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I saw that kind of happen. So it's interesting to see kind of you thinking about doing it like that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't draw that conclusion. I never. Yeah. But no, it's my whole thing is, I have my own podcast where I talk about myself and I get my bullshit off. That's why I wanted this platform specifically to, for people to discover other people and for it to not be, because I mean, look at when you get people in groups, that's how shit happens, tribes, like that's how like the Patriot Meme Alliance is kind of what inspired me because these guys, they all cross promote each other. Their accounts have been growing. I mean, their memes are everywhere. You go to like celebrity threads and people are arguing with like, all of a sudden like Mostly Peaceful. He's one of my like main internet homies. And all of a sudden I'll see some celebrity like posting his meme to like argue with somebody, you know what I mean? And it's just like awesome. Yeah. And I think I
know that guy. Like a lot of those guys, I've seen their accounts explode, which is awesome.
Yeah. And so there's been 2 of them have been here already. That Southern dude was on here. Mostly Peaceful was on here. I'm talking to What I Meme to Say on Monday. And so it's just kind of, shining light on the people behind the content of like our little, fucked up space of the internet. And
I love that, man. Like, would you be interested in doing our podcast at some point too?
I'd love to, dude. 100%.
Yeah. That's what we've been trying to do that more because we want to like, reach people that have their own audiences that think similar. Like Levi has been on the road for a month plus, just touring the country with his wife. So we've kind of learned how to do a Zoom, guest podcast. So now it's like the perfect time to do something like that with someone like you.
Yeah, dude, I'm always down, man. Like I said, I kind of had to get over my, it's just like, I'm kind of a one man. I used to produce a podcast for other people that was kind of like barely a co-host on. And once I get into something, I really get into it and I want to just like keep going at my own speed. But then I kind of realized, okay, I put myself on this little island and shit's not moving. But then the more I like network with people and I talk to other people and have this like idea orgy, that's when shit actually starts moving, because when I got nuked the first time, I was devastated. Then I was really surprised when I started my new account, how many people reposted me and got me back on my feet. You know what I mean? And that really showed me, okay, there's a community here. Like it's
huge. I think about that every day. I'm like, I wake up every day like, oh fuck, I'm probably gonna get nuked. Like I post some shit. Like I have to delete posts every week, and it says my account will be suspended. And so I wonder about that. You're like, if I can create a community where like just lose everyone and then you're starting over. Like
Right. And that's something I really want to do, especially if this podcast gets nuked. But yeah, just like
you're not too crazy right wing. You're not like Gavin McInnes type of a volatile Milo character.
No, and like I said, I don't even want to go too political. Like I wish the world wasn't fucked up so I could just make dick jokes, honestly.
Same. Like all I do is put a mirror on how crazy shit is. I just go, here, look at this.
Yeah.
I don't know. So for something like this, is this going to be a video and audio podcast, or how are you?
Yeah, it's gonna be on video. I don't know exactly if I'm gonna start a whole new YouTube channel for it. I think I might just put on my regular channel and like have its own playlist for it. But this gets kind of cleaned up in post production, and then I went to audio engineering school, so
Sure.
so I kind of stumbled into the podcast space, like I said, like producing something for like another guy. Excuse me. So yeah, it's definitely going to be on all audio platforms, but all this video stuff is definitely something new that I've been learning, which I wanted to ask you. We got 3.5 minutes left here, just kind of a heads up. But
Yeah.
so your guys' podcast is pretty high production value. I mean, it's the real deal. So you're saying, is Levi kind of the one that put that all into place? Is he the producer or?
Yeah, Levi's amazing. He worked in Hollywood for 10, 15 years. Went to film school, worked on a bunch of movies, TV shows, reality shows. And we built out a podcast studio in Nate's bonus room. We have like insane lighting. We have insane, like just crazy cameras, crazy editing. And it's really all Levi. I show up there for 2 hours, tell some stupid jokes. Nate kind of runs the ship because it's his house, his studio. He built the backdrop we have, our logo, and he built a bunch of stuff. He like actually did manual labor to turn it into a studio. But yeah, Levi's like the brains behind the whole thing. He's sitting there editing that shit for 20 hours. Like,
and that just shows, man, that's why like a network and a tribe is so important, because you guys all add your own little pieces to it. And I don't know people in real life. Like I remember when I was younger, I was always trying to put bands together and stuff, or like now, I'm trying to meet like-minded community. I don't know people. That's why I'm doing this internet thing. So I'm reaching out to people like the internet homies, just trying to do what I can on that front. And,
well, that's the cool thing is you can meet people that are like you. You don't have to live in the same neighborhood. Like that's what's really cool.
Yeah. And create stuff, man. Well, yeah, dude, we're winding down here and running out of time because on one hand, I'm too cheap to update the Zoom. And then also on the other hand, I do think it's kind of good to keep things between like a half hour and 40 minutes just because people's attention span, that leaves room for people to come back if there's things we didn't touch on. Let me just make sure I got asked you everything kind of generally that I wanted to ask you here. I think so. But yeah, dude, I'd love to have you back on in the future. And then always down to come make an appearance with you guys. Talk some shit. So
I'd love to. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anything? What's that?
I'm down to do your show anytime. Like this is fun. I think you have one of the funniest social medias yourself. And so I always go to your page too. And I'm like, what did this lunatic post today? I got to see this.
Did you get the message about monetizing the reels bonus? Did you get that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So I got a message 2 days ago from Instagram. Like I'm part of this like beta trial about like monetizing reels. And so I think that's why you're seeing a bunch of people post reels because Instagram, I think they're losing so much ground to fucking TikTok. But
Sure.
I was kind of curious, but all right, brother, man. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on. Any last words for the peeps?
Check me out on social media, Chris Clark 503, and our podcast. Here's Your Apology, and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. And I'll be sure to put all your links in the bio and all that stuff. So if you're listening to this, go check that out and follow my dude.
All right, man. Have a good night, dude.
All right, take care, dude. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Later.